Hey guys, welcome back. So, if you've reached this far of my videos, thank you very much for watching, and I appreciate you coming back. So, right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss the step-by-step process that I would do when I get a new plant, a new Haworthia, and we'll try to explain them bit by bit. So, as you can see, these uh, these are new Haworthias. Some of them are pretty common. Some of them might not be. But I visited a local garden where a lot of nurseries are, and I found these plants. So I roughly spent around 450 pesos. That's around $5. $5. Okay. Now, so the first thing that you need to do or need to make sure when you get new plants, especially coming from a garden or a nursery, is make sure you quarantine your plants. So I guess it's also a good practice to avoid contact with your current plants the moment you know you come back from the nursery, just to avoid transfer of you know pathogens or even like unwanted insects or pests. Now, uh, these were quarantined when I got home. As much as I wanted to take a look at my plants, I I needed to avoid it temporarily after I'm done unpacking and processing these new plants. All right. So that's the first one. Quarantine your new plants. All right. Number two. Step two. Now, just like these, if your new plants came with a new substrate, what you want to do is you want to remove the new plants from the old substrate. Well, personally, it's a good practice, especially for these ones that were grown locally. Now, it might not be very obvious in this video, but these new plants were planted in loam soil. They were grown up north where the weather is cold and they don't use fast draining substrate. And likely, I'm gonna transplant them into another pot with a better substrate anyway. That's fast draining, so I might as well just remove them from the substrate when when I get them. Sometimes some of your plants would actually come bare rooted, without the substrate, especially those shipped uh, from the mail or from a package. So, of course, there's no substrate, there's no need for you to, remove substrate because there's none. Anyway, so if they come bare rooted, just in case, so what you can do is you can skip this step. But for now, we are gonna remove the new plants from the old substrate. All right. Make sure you take care when removing the plants from the old roots, right? So that you don't damage the roots. Right. There. So that's one of the reasons why we also wanna remove them from the old substrate, because as you can see, the current substrate that they came in, they're they contain a lot of organic substance. So looking leaves, actually, sorry, this one. Okay, so I've completed removing the plants from the old substrate. By the way, guys, if you came in with a new plant from the nursery that has a good substrate like turfis or um, cactus mix, or even sometimes akadama, I guess removing them from the old substrate is optional. But since for me, most of my plants come from a place where they usually grow Haworthias in a loamy and loamy soil with a lot of organic stuff mixed. So I'd rather repot them with the new substrate. So now, uh, here are the plants. Now, the other, so a few notes when you would do this after removing them. Be very careful, especially for the plants that would have pups. I, I you know, I don't know. I think I accidentally removed one of the pups. So some people would actually try to root this, and some just so for some people it doesn't make it actually. But anyway, so that's another tip. Make sure when you remove the plants from the old substrate, be careful not to damage or detach, especially the young pups. Uh, when you would remove the plant from the old substrate, it's also a good time to decide whether you want to remove the old pups, or you can check if the pups are okay to be separated from the mother plant, especially this one. For this cuspidata, this is a Haworthia cuspidata. The pups actually have roots on them, so I might remove the pups and plant them on another pot. So that's it. It's also a good time to remove old and rotting leaves. Sometimes, you'd see very old and dry leaves, and sometimes the leaves would be rotten. Uh, Make sure you clean the root part. So I'd normally use a brush, with medium strength bristles. You can probably use an old toothbrush for this one, but here I'm gonna clean this. Alright, I'm gonna remove the very very fine roots for this one. Of course, you don't want to remove the roots of the pups. Be careful, okay? Alright. Okay, welcome back. So, we've finished cleaning the roots. So, the next step is to actually disinfect the new plants. So, there are a couple of ways when you can disinfect, or how you can disinfect. The most common would be either hydrogen peroxide or bleach. For some, like sometimes I would also use fungicide, but for this video we are gonna use hydrogen peroxide. You can either use 1% hydrogen peroxide or 1% bleach. Now that means 10 ml for each 1 liter of water. So I have here this one. I have here hydrogen peroxide. So where I'm from, there are two types. The one in a blue label and a red label. The red label is pretty much more potent. It has more has a more concentration. So this one, I just bought this from the local drugstore, and I have a measuring spoon. So 15 ml is roughly 1 tablespoon. Now if you don't have this, you can go to your drugstore. You can buy a syringe. So the syringe, or like the one that you use to inject things without the needle, you can use the graduation on that one, so that you can measure hydrogen peroxide volume. So here, these are what I'm gonna use, and also of course we will need water. So for this video, I have this water here. Alright, it's ready on the side, as you guys can see. So I have 3 liters of water on this one. Now what I'm gonna do is, since 1% solution for 3 liters is 30 ml, so, and that means just, you know, 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons full, and that should do the trick. So let's do that now. Right, be careful not to spill the hydrogen peroxide. Normally you're not gonna be able to get a pure or 100% hydrogen peroxide. So normally they're gonna be in 70% or 50% concentration, depending on the brand and the label there. All right, so let's give it a mix. All right, let's put this aside. Now, so once you have the solution ready, what you want to do is you want to dip your plants into the solution. Right. All right. So that was 15 minutes, and after rinse, so that was 15 minutes. After that part of soaking them in a hydrogen peroxide solution, the next step is we're going to rinse them. So I have here my trusty noodle filter. Here, I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna spray it with alcohol first. And I'm gonna put each Haworthia one by one. I'm gonna put them here, and then I'm gonna rinse them in the under the sink. So make sure you rinse them. Rinsing is an important step. So after rinsing, the next step is to air dry your Haworthias. So make sure you rinse them thoroughly. So I'm gonna air dry these for at least a day or 2 days, depending on my availability, and then I'm gonna repot them. So thank you for watching. You guys have a good one.